such an asshole.
AssholeConsulting.com. The old captain had to go and listen to some podcasts and do some research and all this other stuff. And then I had to sit down and think. And it's a pretty interesting question. If you have questions. And money. And money. By the way, did I tell you with a name like Asshole Consulting, it's money? And by the way, this will be a curse-free. I know I said I wasn't going to curse to test it. I did some research. Found out YouTube's just demonetizing everybody's stuff. And so, fuck YouTube and fuck your advertisers. I'm just going to curse, and I think I'll be uploading both my videos here and to VidMe, which you can find by searching Asshole Consulting on VidMe. But neither here nor there, just telling you guys. Hi Aaron, hope you're well. Wanted to see if you would provide your thoughts, opinions, and analysis on some trends that I find very interesting and disturbing. While the country seems gripped by the events taking place in Charlottesville and whatever is happening with Trump or North Korea, some articles came up that I think warrant at least some acknowledgement. The first of these trends is that according to the CDC, the suicide rate in the U.S. has been increasing across all demographics. However, this has hit the younger population more so, and women as well. If you look into it, women, it's increased thrice between, I think, the ages of 10 and 14. Men, boys, have only doubled, but women are finally closing that suicide gap, by golly. And that's fairness, that's equity, that's equality. Specifically, young men, the suicide rate has gone up 30%, and young women has doubled. Yeah, okay, same figures I kind of saw. Furthermore, the rates of alcohol consumption have been increasing in the United States as well. This is in conjunction with the well-known and seemingly ubiquitous opioid epidemic that is gripping the country. Lastly, the fertility rate in the United States, as the number of children women have, has also reached a record low. This was across all demographics, regardless of ethnicity. The only rise was women over the age of 35 who valued themselves more than their children and decided to have in vitro fertility. No, I'm kidding. Women over the age of 35, but even then, the U.S. has dropped below the replacement rate, even when accounting for immigration. My question is, what are your thoughts on these trends? Tell us about what's going on in the United States. Are these trends, much like the events in Charlottesville, symptomatic of a broader issues at play? If so, what are they? And what, if anything, can be done about it? Also, let me know if this question makes sense and if I'm stringing together unrelated events to tell an untrue narrative or story. Thanks for the video. Okay, I don't think... tangentially, ever so tangent. It's not like Charlottesville is unrelated to the alcoholism and the suicide and the causes of those. But I would say they're very, very little Venn diagram overlap on that. There's some things like, okay, you got a bunch of unemployed white guys who are constantly told they got privilege and all this other shit, and they're like, yeah, you know what, fuck you. And then they go and they say, I'm going to join white supremacy groups or white nationalist groups. And you have, it's eerie how they're the exact same, they're just the opposite side of the coin. Antifa, equally unemployed people, but instead of believing the rightist, extreme right ideology of white supremacy, they're going to believe the complete leftist extremist bullshit ideology of communism, and everybody else has privilege, and we're going to fight the system, man. So that's all, and both probably lack fathers with spines. Both of them were lied to about academia and what they should go to college for. They were lied to about entitlements and stuff like that. Maybe more on the left than the right. And so, yeah, Charlottesville, come on, but that's kind of the odd thing, I don't think Trump and North Korea has anything to do with it. So what I did, I went online, I found some tried to find out what's going on. The officials, the experts, the authorities, claim that alcohol consumption is going up and suicide rates are going up. In part, the younger people, especially because of social media. There was an article put out in the Atlantic Daily, which I believe that's true. Especially among younger kids, and literally kids, because of social media. They're not getting out, they're not getting in meat space, they're not developing their brains correctly, they get depressed if they're not on it. They don't see the outside of the daytime during summer, and so they end up killing themselves down the road. Or getting into drugs, getting alcohol. Others have cited that, the economy is growing, and even though it's slow growth, the technology is advancing, things are getting easier, we can order stuff online. So even compared to 10 to 15 years ago, we have a lot more leisure. Let's go ahead and drink and get blotto. Some I even saw hinted. They didn't come out right and say it. They even said women are working more. And despite what feminists told you girls, working sucks. And there's stress. And so now women are catching up both in terms of alcoholism and suicide. And I wish you good. We need to close these gaps, these disparities. Women need to be exactly identical and equal to men. Now, if they just go work the coal mines, too. So there's that. But, and you know me, I don't... There's probably some elements of truth. I'm sure all these social scientists and psychologists, these experts, are trying to figure it out. But what inhibits them is what I have, and that is zero fucks to give. I have zero fucks to give, and I'm just going to... And they don't want to be impolite. They don't want to be politically incorrect. And so what you find out is the social sciences, including psychology, they cannot repeat the findings. All the decades worth of doctoral theses and studies and research. Oh, I found out that men are oppressing women. And it's like, okay, repeat that. Let's see that. If it's scientifically valid, if you're measuring this phenomena in society, it should, and you claim it's there, and we should base policy and change everybody's tax code and move money from this group of people over there. It should be repeatable. It should happen all the time. It's not. They're finding out, like in the case of psychology, only 1/3 of these studies are found to be valid and can be replicated. And so I think it's the I'm going to be writing a piece about how it's the end of empirical research and the empirical data because it's not holding up. And now we have to go back to common sense, logic, and above all, blunt truth, which we here at Asshole Consulting specialize in. And so I'm going to explain to you what's really going on. And I am quite confident in my theories. And when I get a government grant money to go and study this, like, the millions of worthless masters and doctoral candidates in the liberal arts to go study your sociology, when I get the money, I might actually go test this. But I think we can quite literally throw all the crap away that the liberal arts and the social sciences have said about this and just use common sense. So, all right, first thing, internet, social media. The article written in The Atlantic by whoever the fuck it was, I don't remember who. I do believe, especially a lot with the younger kids, and we're talking 10 to 14, 10 to 19, Gen I, as they call them, or iGen as the author calls them. She has some pretty compelling evidence and data and charts that, staying indoors and looking at your fucking phone all the time and looking at your computer screen and being on Facebook and not getting out and getting exercise, that tends to lead to depression. And among other things, not participating in culture and society. So, what was it? It's shocking, like, almost half the seniors have never been on a date. I'm like, dude, I was dating in like the 7th or 6th grade, for fuck's sake. And I was a nerd. Date out of your school district, kids. That's a little tip from the old captain if you're a nerd. Date outside your school district. So that is definitely having an effect, a disproportionate effect on the younger kids. Certainly having an effect on people. Like, I have to unplug. I know many of you who are news media junkies, social media type people. You're always on the blog. I have to unplug. I'm going on a month-long motorcycle ride. And I just can't. And because you will get depressed. I get depressed sitting in my house all the time. Because you don't, and that's another thing, is the increase of work from home or remote work. You're always by yourself. So it's not necessarily, I would speculate, surmise, that it doesn't just affect young kids who are just addicted to their crackberries, but to older people, either employed remotely, you work from home, you're an author or whatever, a podcaster, or you just are more addicted to social media. You spend more and more time looking on a phone than you do actually in meat space in the real world. So that is certainly one thing that's causing the increase in alcoholism and suicide. Automation, making jobs easier, or in more literally, meaning we demand you less. In the olden days, when humans had to make everything and robotics was not really a thing, and software wasn't eliminating jobs, there is this roboticization of the economy that is resulting in less and less demand for humans. So you're either, and I've written about the roboticized economy, look it up, that's the title. You're either a specialist of some kind, or someone who maintains these robots and programs the software, or you're in the service industry. That's how it is. There's trades in the middle. It's not this perfect diagram. You either are servicing or are top dog. But as the technology curve moves, that delineation becomes more and more pronounced. And so I could have been, I'm trying to think of something like, there's fear that accounting may be automated. And some aspects of it has been. And so accounting, you could be an accountant and not a CPA and make a pretty darn good salary. But now you're just a staff accountant. That could be replaced with software. Whereas a CPA inside, that's the top notch where you get more strategy. So there are less jobs going out there, but things are going down in price, adjusting for inflation, which means we have to work less. Which is, that sounds great, but for men especially, you need purpose and agency. Men derive a lot of value from I'm a plumber, I'm a this, I'm a that. And now it's like, no, you know what? At best, you're a bartender. At worst, you're a busboy. And if you have your sociology masters, you're a barista. And so you add the education we mandate all these kids get, and they go and they work a job that they could have worked in the 7th grade. And they get by, they make enough, it's way too easy. There's not enough challenge or strife. And what I think is happening is people are, you can say, well, they don't have jobs. What, they don't have jobs? Okay, they're on welfare then, and they still got to sit there 10 hours a day, either filling their mind with mindless candy and TV and social media and YouTube and all that other crap. Or their minds are left to wander like, okay, what do I do now? What do I do now? In the olden days, you didn't have a choice. You were constantly threatened by all 5 levels. You never made it to self-actualization. You had to worry about food, clothing, shelter, tigers eating you, poverty. It was always at your feet. So you never had time to sit and think about your mortality, nihilism, what happens afterwards. What's my point in purpose? You didn't care. It's like, dude, the kid is sick. The other kid is throwing up. The third kid's got to go to school. Busy mothers and fathers know this type of stuff. You're not thinking more pontificating thoughts. You think, I need to get gas in the car. And so if you have a family, your brain is occupied and you're not faced with this existential crisis. But if you don't have kids and you aren't being fully engaged or occupied or employed, or you are employed but it's not challenging you enough, either physically or mentally, you're going to feel a lack of agency. Life is going to get too easy. You're going to start to drift and your mind wander, and you're going to feel depressed. If for any other reason, not existential crises, but the fact that you've been propagandized by school that you're going to be great, you're going to go on to do great things because you're just so great. Can we line up to suck the kids' dicks anymore? And then when you get there and you're like, no, it's crickets chirping. Depression, sadness, and a complete lack of point and purpose of life comes in. Closely related to that is debt spending. Technology has made us softer, but so is debt spending and the consequential government bailouts. Everybody spends more debt. The government spends more debt. Private people spend more debt. Corporations spend more debt. And people just file for bankruptcy. Now I remember looking at bankruptcy. Bankruptcies have gone exponential because you're just too damn lazy to work. And why would you when you can get forgiven in Chapter 7, Chapter 13, or Chapter 11? I forget which one it was. And you get all your shit for free because you're just not going to pay people back. What about student debt? Student loans, those are one of the few things that can't be discharged in bankruptcy. But man, they want to get rid of that debt. Well, then what? So the taxpayer just paid you to have a 4-year party and maybe a 5-year party for a worthless degree. So you could go out and drink beer. All right, that really doesn't provide agency. It makes a really easy, soft life. And then government bails, either bailing out people directly through welfare, TANF, WIC, Schmick, Lick, Dick, TANF, or the states, or the local, or corporations bailing out banks, bailing out corporations. Nobody is faced to learn the suffering and the consequences of stupid mistakes. No one is forced to claw their way out and achieve and champion stuff. So again, they're soft, they're lazy, and you don't have to work. And I know everybody hates to work, and I know work is the only thing worse than having a job is not having a job. Because you do, especially men, you will derive some point, purpose, and agency. So if you're just this, dude, man, like I'm going to Evergreen College and majoring in social justice studies, man. Ooh, yeah, man, I'm going to fight the system and the white people. Bill, you're white. Yeah, I know, man, but I feel guilty about it. And then that kid never works, gets bailed out all the time, goes on the government dole. Do you think that brain is evolving, advancing, and being challenged and working out and being strengthened like a muscle to have point, purpose, and agency? Because in the end, I don't care if it's Bill at Evergreen College or Tina, party going girl, get away from me, get away from me, get away from me. At night, they both go home and bawl themselves to sleep. At least the girl does. The guy kind of will realize, oh, what am I doing? Oh, my life. And then, again, they're brainwashing by the school. Oh, it's the evil white man and Ronald Reagan and George Bush and Donald Trump. They're keeping you down. But the point is, soft people usually have, if you have a soft environment, you get soft people, and they have no point, purpose, or agency. And without that, man, it's really hard to wake up and go about your day. I mean, what do you do if you're a welfare bum? Like, oh, hey, we going to watch Jerry Springer again? We going to go down to the 7-Eleven and get ourselves a big gulp like a fat, bloated single mom with their 7 kids from 7 different fathers? Or you going to go and protest or go write another grant application to get more government money? You got to get your master's in intersectionality studies? I mean, wow, you have no reason to live. None. And you are paying to live through that life of utter pointlessness. And so that, I theorize and speculate, might drive alcoholism and suicide. All right. Everybody was lied to, Gen X and younger, about what life was supposed to be like. You're supposed to go to college, your career is supposed to be the number one thing, and then you're special and you're intelligent. You're all smart. You're all smart. We're all going to be generals. Nobody's going to be a private. Matter of fact, you're all going to be 4-star generals. And if you're a 3-star general, that's because of the patriarchy and somebody's racist. And it's because of how you identify. Anyway, I mean anyone 50 and younger, we're oversold on what to expect in life. And we were undertold or inadequately informed what it takes to succeed in life. So we thought, oh, we're all smart, oh, we're all intelligent. I just go to college just like everybody else. I get good grades just like everybody else. Everybody has grade inflation just like everybody else. And we're dumped out in the labor market, and now we're working crappy jobs that we could have done in the 4th grade. Being deadly serious, you could do most banking jobs, 5th grade math, 7th grade math. And so you've been lied from 5 to 22, sometimes 23 or 24, 25, 26 if you get masters and advanced degrees, and you're dumped out into the real world, and you find out that none of that is coming true. That is a huge crippling blow to most of the 20-somethings. So right now, the millennials and the Gen X days, I remember a lot of guys was just, what the fuck? And I even recall there being a blip up in suicide from like 26 to 34, but that could have been economic. That could have been the dot-com bubble busting. In either case, when you're expecting life to be like this, and after you truly suffer and strive, I don't even mean get good grades. You just go through hell, K through college. That's bullshit. That's prison. And then you're finally released, and then you get there and you find out it's just even worse. Like, you're not going to get a job. You're not going to pay off your student loans, and you're sad, especially now millennials, because you guys voted for Obama, and he made tuition a lot cheaper. When you're saddled with $50,000, $60,000, $100,000, $150,000 worth of student debt, yeah, that would be crippling. So not only were you lied about what you can achieve, and that's another thing that just drives you crazy. It's like you keep thinking there's something wrong with you. Like, I should be up here. Why am I down here? No, you're supposed to be down here, and this was never going to happen. Where you come from, it's gone. Where you thought you were going to, weren't never there. And where you are ain't no good unless you can get away from it. 30 cents to somebody who can tell me, I'm not going to pay you 30 cents. So the psychoticness of trying to figure out why, and you realize, oh, I've been lied to this entire time. And my life, and it's like a stock market crashing, you also realize my life is not going to be what I was promised it was going to be. It's going to be a fraction and a lot more sucky than what it was. That also drives drinking. I knew it drove myself to drinking. And it drives people to suicide, or at least think about suicide, or in the case of women, trying to commit suicide, but more cries for help because attention! So we got the attentions! Slice this way, not that way. That way you actually kill yourself. Don't think this one will be... I'm not even going to bother trying to monetize this one. Okay, then we are also lied to what life is about. So you're still trying to like, I gotta make money, I gotta get rims, I gotta get hoes, I gotta get my MBA, I gotta become especially women and leftists. They think they gotta get doctorates and masters, and they gotta get careers in nonprofits. When life is about falling in love with someone from the opposite sex, or unless you happen to be gay, And maybe having kids. If you have kids, your life is about your kids and other people. I've always said it. I've said it before. I've said it again because it's 100% true. Life is about other people. The only thing that matters in life is other people. The people you love and cherish. So your friends, but most importantly, your spouse or your steady. And if you happen to bring any children into the world, your children. You can see people just live their entire lives never knowing that. They'll go watch the TV. They're so busy with Maslow's hierarchy of needs because they're debt slaves. They got to pay for the mortgage. They got to pay for the house. They got to pay for the Range Rover. They got to pay for wifey's manicures. They got to pay for the kids' daycare. We got to pay for the kids' bed. And you don't spend it. I love it. Looking, I go walking now on different paths that are being paved in these new suburbs, and like, why even have the house half the time, guys? You don't spend any time with your family. Half of you are going to end up in divorce, and the kids are going to be ruined. You're going to be ruined. No one spends any time, and that's what you're programmed for. You're going to get your programming, your hardwiring. And so when you all of a sudden realize you've been wasting your life, you make one of two decisions. You either double down and put in the echo chamber, and you become a 58-year-old cat lady who's a feminist and writes books about feminism and how young, beautiful girls who still have a shot at having happiness in life, how men are evil and they're oppressive and you want to ruin their lives like you ruined yours, so at least, misery loves company. Or you make a change and then you try to find someone. I don't know. Do people 50-year-olds find love? I don't know. And you try to salvage what you can. See, for example, me, I like spending time with my nieces and nephews and my friends' little kids because they're fun as hell. Oh, dude, 3-year-olds are great, man. They believe anything you tell them, and they're always excited to do, like, everything's great. Hey, do you want to make paper airplanes? Yeah. They're like, hey, you want to go throw rocks in a lake? Yeah. I mean, that's better than your MBA. That's better than you fucking... You think... Okay, look, me throwing rocks with my little buddy, my niece, us throwing rocks in the pond, teaching her how to skip her. She doesn't have the arm dexterity to do it yet. That or Marissa Meyer and her kid. The incubator baby sitting in the thing that the nanny takes care of. Who do you think's having a better life? I don't care if Marissa Meyer's got, what was she paid, $186 million after California taxes. That's like $3.2 million. I don't care that she's got almost $5 million in assets. I'm having a much better life. But most people, they were brainwashed. They got the horse blinders on. But in the end, you lying to yourself only causes more tumult and chaos and grinding within your psyche and your emotion, your mental state. Drinking, suicide, depression, all that other stuff. Somewhat related, the elimination of traditional gender roles, your spouse being the most important person in your life, and about 98% of the people being straight. For most people, the most important thing in life is the opposite sex. This is very clear with men. We built fucking civilization and invented fucking everything because we wanted to impress women, so we get laid. Maybe have kids, predominantly get laid. And women want to find masculine, strong, supporting, stable guys who would provide for them and their children, provide security. They want to fall in love. They want a pair bond. It's all a wonderful thing, very nice on paper, and for most of the existence of human existence. But in part because of the brainwashing we receive, college and school, media, women want to be men, and men are kind of browbeaten into being women. In the 90s, it was they want a sensitive 90s man. Today, it's like, oh, you could choose from 48 different flavors of gender, and women just like this. I mean, they're not even talking. They're not. It's amazing. Like I said, half seniors haven't been on dates. And I've watched a buddy of mine. She's got a kid who's 16 or 17 now. These kids are zombies. They're not like, hey, dude, did you see the redhead kid? But as this evolves, and we see this very pronounced, we can even say, even as old as the baby boomer generations, women want to pursue careers and fuck the children at home, and men are going to be stay at home. Well, no, men aren't going to stay at home. Men have to work too because we've raised enough taxes for the welfare state that now we have to pay. We have such a large welfare state. We need to pay other women to leave their home and not raise their kids so they can raise other women's kids in various social programs and schools and juvie and all that while leaving their own kids and shipping them out. It's very important that we outsource other women's children to be raised by other women, because otherwise these women need jobs to pay for the taxes that we use. But never mind about just lowering taxes and going back to a nuclear family. So what has happened now is you have no reason. I mean, you want to muse, you want inspiration, you want civilization to be built, you want lands conquered. You know, it'd be nice if women would start dressing like they did back in the 1950s, put themselves together, lost the fucking weight, and we're pretty and feminine. We're nice and kind. Men would go and we'll go charge and do whatever we will. Yes, absolutely. What? Wipe out that? We will. We will dam up the Colorado River. Build electricity? We will do that. So men have no real reason to live. And women, you've done it to yourselves. You turned men into these fucking pussies. Like Pajama Boy or any rank and file millennial with the hair bun and the salmon colored jeans. I mean, all these hipsters. I understand if it's as dry as a sawmill down there, ladies. I understand. But now you have no incentive to get gussied up. No, guys. I mean, do guys even ask girls out? I really got to know that. Like, I know the initiation happens on the internet with the Facebooks and the Snapchats and the Instachats. But do you ever actually go on dates? I mean, I could see. Is there any incentive? And if there's no incentive to wake up and go try your best to, find a wife or get a girl or chase after, just to chase after girls, doesn't have to be married, just to chase after them. I mean, if they're so fat and hideous and they're tatted up and they're pierced up, guys aren't going to get out of bed, and I don't blame them for watching internet porn. And ladies, I'm with you too. I look at, there's some very cute younger millennial type of girls. And I look at these boys you get to choose from, and like, yeah, sadly, you girls, like, you got, your best bet is to go with Gen X guys like me. And I wish you had better options than Gen X men who are in their 40s. But I'm sorry, once again, doesn't exactly give you girls the spring in the step you need to get up and, hey, look at what's available to you. And we're better than average. Because we can bench press our own weight. We got jobs. We don't live at home. I mean, these are the high standards. So, I mean, again, yeah, if I was a younger gal and my options were dating this nice mug only because he has a job, and I'd be like, yeah, I'd think about putting a bullet in my head. I'd think about slicing this way and not that way. And I sure as hell would start drinking. So that's that. All right, the next thing, divorce or the destruction of the nuclear family. This affects everyone involved, the kids and the parents. Divorce is not, now I know divorce is liberating and it's great and it's a wonderful thing. It's just like penicillin. It has solved so many problems of the world, and feminism has cheered it on and ushered it in, and it's wonderful and it's great. But once again, the difference between academia and me, as I live in the real world, divorce absolutely makes people depressed. And I'd love to see a feminist study come and tell me. Well, you go create your own studies fresh out of your own vag. But yeah, it takes a toll on the man, it takes a toll on the woman. And I don't know if you guys do this or not. There's these little things called kids. You may have seen them. Now, I know you, and you're like, oh, why is she fat? Oh, why is she skinny? Why is there a third person around? I know that's average rank and file Americans nowadays. Does the government check come with it? Cool, it can stay. But when you get divorced, it's very hard on the kids. And surprise, surprise, studies show, if you believe the studies, those kids who come from divorced families, they tend to drink more, have more problems, and commit suicide more. But that's all right, because the government check will replace men. But that right there is a pretty clear one. And I know divorce spiked in the 70s because the baby boomers could not ejaculate to it enough. I'm surprised. We should replace the Robert E. Lee statue with a divorce statue. I know that, but it did peak, and it's come down a little bit, but it's not eliminated. I mean, people are still getting divorced. And a lot of times, people just ain't getting married in the first place. They still spit out kids. So, what the fuck? Who gives a shit? Mommy's new boyfriend likes to play a dirty game. And I'm sure that just works wonders. Sexual abuse. I'd have to look at the stats. I'm kind of curious what child abuse occurs with mommy's new boyfriend this month. Okay. Another thing, lack of interesting people. This is especially pronounced with the iPhone generation, but the Gen Xers were no less guilty of this. But how interesting are people? Especially if you're not meeting them in meet space, you're meeting them digitally. How interesting are people? No matter what the young generation say, that they're independent-minded and they're going to save the world, no, you're not. Especially you millennials, you guys are robots. You guys are automatons. And don't worry, Gen Xers were the same way too. But without interesting people, and with especially not being able to meet them in enough volume in person, it takes a toll. This I've alluded to this in my own personal life. I'm not even gonna say, "Oh, it doesn't happen to me." I heard it happen. No. If there are not interesting people in your life because they've all grown up the same way, to think the exact same way, and they either agree with you 100% or they call you a racist, sexist, homophobic bigot, which is groupthink on the left, these are not interesting, unique people. And sadly, since humans are the most important thing in life, they are the spice of life. If they're common, if they're basic mill flour, oh man, and this says nothing about your romantic life. This is your regular day-to-day life. These are your friends. These are the people you get to interact with. These are the people that are supposed to give you value, purpose, and meaning in life. Just a lack of interesting people and a lack of good friends and a lack of enough friends is enough to, you do need tribalism. That is program. This is programmed for men to want to bang chicks with big tits and women to bang guys that are bigger and stronger and will fight. It is programmed into you to have a tribe. But if you don't have enough people that are interesting enough to talk to, or that you'd want to talk to, or they're all doing this, you're not going to be treating or not treating, what's the word? Satiating that need for social interaction and tribalism. It could be moot. It could be obsolete. You could have all the guns in the world. You're perfectly safe. You could be John Wick, and you could be perfectly safe and secure. But you're going to get bored and lonely not having any friends. And I don't know. I'll give you an example. I know a lot of guys my age. Speaking of younger gals dating older guys, these guys I can't date. They can. Girls are they're agreeing to go out with them, but then they go out with these 25-year-olds, and it's really, you have a liberal arts degree. Oh, are you thinking about getting a master's degree? Huh? Yeah, that Trump sure is an asshole. You might as well be dating a cardboard cutout. There's no depth or interest there. So that is, again, leads to depression, leads to drinking, leads to suicide. And then finally, there is, and there also seems to be, no future for most people. This is why I wrote the book, Enjoy the Decline. You look at economic growth, you look at debt, you look at the fundamentals of the United States, or any Western nation in general, and they're not good. There's no country, there's no countrymen, there's no team us, there's no community to be part of. A lot of this has to do with the very successful tactic of the left of separating us based on pretty much any variable: income, race, creed, religion, gender. I'm probably missing something in there to pit us against one another. The media also makes money off of that, writing articles, both on the right and the left, Fox News and CNN, that are spun so much that they're just wrong. They're lies. But I'm here to tell you that, there's very little opportunity, economic opportunity and growth or a future in the country, because our economic growth rate is slowing down to below 2% now. I got to update the figures, but it's sporadic. It's barely beating out inflation. It's barely beating out the population growth. So our income per capita is really stagnated. So there's this lethargy, and if we're not a booming economy and there's nothing about the United States and we're not, look at what we stand for, this is great to be, I'm going to go donate time to the community, I'm going to go do this. No, everyone is further and further automatized and removed into their own little secluded world with their phone, learning about how whites want to beat you up, or blacks are out to get your jobs through affirmative action, or women are out to sperm jack you and rape you in divorce court, and men are out there oppressing you even though you've never seen it. And that is where I said, yes, there is no future, but then we are also led to believe there is no future, and that is how we are split and pitted against one another. I mean, I don't really tune into Drudge Report or Breitbart or any of that, because what I realized, and the Daily Mail showed me this, is these guys are spinning it. I remember Breitbart, I think it was Ben Shapiro, wrote about some Minnesota school kids in music class were going to take non-white composers, classical musician composers, and they were going to study them. Now, the way, I think it was Ben Shapiro, so I'm checking, I know it was Breitbart, pretty sure it was Breitbart, but they spun it like it was Marxist, cultural Marxism, and they were going to spin it in like, there's no white men allowed, da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, then you read the actual article that's cited, and it's way more innocent than that. It's the kids, they say, well, a lot of them aren't white, and they say, well, are there any non-white composers, because white male, and you think about it like, yeah, are there? Yes. Yeah, Beethoven, Mozart, they're all white dudes. Well, it turns out there are. There's Asians, there's Hispanics, and there's blacks. And what they did is they sought out, because there's not that many, non-white composers, and these kids played this music in class. Now, I'm no big fan of affirmative action, and I'm not, you're not white, let's line up to suck your dick. But I can understand, like, yeah, I could see your little Hispanic kid, like, hey, are there any Latino guy? This is like what we see in comic books. It's like, hey, are there any black superheroes? No, but we're going to take this white one, and we're going to paint him black, and here you go. It's like, can I have an original one? No, we hate you, but we'll never tell you that. Just be happy we ruined a white character just so you could we co-opted one for you. Like, apparently minorities are not worthy of their own superheroes and comic book heroes. But anyway, this was way more, and so when I finally started realizing that right-wing news was lying to me, not at the level that left-wing news was, but they still lie, I started realizing that the media and the different parties, the media for money, the Democrat-Republican Party for votes, want to rile us up against one another and make it seem like everybody is out to get us when they're not. Are there some black people that hate white people? Yes. Are there some white people that hate black people? Yes. Are there some women that hate men? Yes, they're called the Women's Studies Department. That is not underreported. That is scary as fuck real. Are men out there conspiring to get at the women? Not really. I haven't ran into it. But by God, 3 in every 1 girl is raped on campus. 3 in 1. Because, well, that's some advanced mathematics feminists come up with. In any case, so 1, there is no hope in the country. 2, we are so pitted against each other by predominantly leftist identity politics and the media hyping it up to sell clicks and clickbait, that why would you? You're depressed, you're sad. It's like, well, my group of people, whatever group that is, we're discriminated against, like the Muslim, the whites are out to get us and they don't like us, and Trump is going to, ban Muslims, and then minority women, men, the Google thing, men are depressing us, and this and that, and then whites, you got privilege. That doesn't make for happy future thoughts. And if you don't have a future and everyone's out to get you, and you're gonna have to fight and claw, and you gotta worry about your neighbor, yeah, that tends to wear thin, tends to depress you, which is why I don't really tune into the news that much anymore. I let my eyes do it. Like, I'll go down to Lake Calhoun, and I'm like, oh yeah, there's some Somalis down here. Are they pissing anybody off? No. Are they keeping to themselves? Yeah. Is everybody getting along? Seems that way. Now, I'd like the Somalis to get the fuck off of welfare, but, at the same time, let's be intellectually honest, I see a lot of white kids doing this in the suburbs while, that Somali kid is working at Walmart, and his dad is driving taxi. And the Mexican dudes are putting up roofs. I don't see no white guys calling me, but that's another thing, but that's a different story. So I try and look empirically what's happening in the real world. What do I see with my own eyes versus what I'm being lied to in the news. And the two usually. But the point is, everyone's looking at this or the computer screen, and they don't use these to look out over there. And so, again, if your tribe, whatever team it is, female, Hispanic, male, white, Muslim, Jew, whatever, if you're told the world is out to get you, that's going to take a toll on you as well. And it's nice. You should all unplug. Just totally unplug, man. It's a lot. I know. Well, what if somebody kills you? Well, I got a gun. You know, I'm not dumb. I'm not going to go to some Europe celebration or the market plots and get run over by a dump truck driven by Muhammad. Nah, I'm not that dumb. I'm not going to go to the Super Bowl. But I'm not going to, like, oh, there's somebody, there's an assassin in every corner, behind every tree. No. But you can trust that the feminists hate your guts. You can trust that one. So, anyway, so that's why. I mean, if there's you can see some tangents related to Charlottesville, but on the grand scheme of things, these are the reasons I think that sociological, society-wide, psychological, emotional, matrimonial, familial, educational, generational. Those are the reasons I think that depression, drinking, and suicide are on the rise. Because we've lied to everybody about what life is about. We've lied to them about what's important, what matters most. And we've damn well made it impossible between college and taxes for the nuclear family to exist anymore. And man, did we lie to women? Did we get women to believe that the career was more important than other people? And that right, men, what are you going to do? Girls are going, I want to become Marissa Meyer. Yay! Like, oh, have fun. But yeah, that's why. There's just really no good damn reason to live anymore. And so you got to go out and find it. It is hard to find a damn good reason to live nowadays. It's really hard. Having a girl with long legs and big tits helps. That helps. Going out and working out, getting exercise, that helps out too. And having hobbies. And so for you guys, my listeners, my audience, even if you don't have the love of your life, go out, work out, get hobbies, go do. I know there's not a lot of interesting people, but what are you going to do? You were born in this time. You can either or drink, and hey, I drank my fair share. Or you could just go, like I said, I got a month-long motorcycle ride coming up. Because the fuck if I ain't gonna, the West needs to be violated with my motorcycle. The West needs to be thoroughly explored. So, all right, that's it. You guys got questions, go to assholeconsulting.com. You can check out my podcast, The Clary Podcast. Get my books, lots of wisdom. And You can find them on Amazon.com. Just search Aaron Clary. And remember, VidMe. Search Asshole Consulting. All the videos are now being uploaded to both YouTube and VidMe. Because YouTube is just... I'd like to say they're being dicks. They're not being dicks. They're being dumb. All right, that's all we got. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.